Hello, my name is Toshi Shimada, music director and conductor of the Eastern Connecticut Symphony Orchestra. We are just about to open our 2022 and 23 season in October 22. And we have a special guest artist for this concert. I will introduce her in a moment. But the program of the concert consists of Dvorak's My Home Overture and Beethoven's Pastorale Symphony, and of course, Elgar's Cello Concerto. And it's delighted here right now that we have on Zoom the person that I have been waiting to perform with for a long time, Sara Sant'Ambrogio. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to finally be coming and
Finally,
playing with you.
we talked about this pre-pandemic.
I know.
Schedule things and then of course cancellation and all those, and then now we came to this point. Originally you were going to play the cello part of a triple concerto, but I thought it would be best to feature you in the solo spots.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for agreeing to perform Elgar's Cello Concerto. I love dearly the piece.
I know. I have to tell you, it's literally my favorite piece to perform. Absolutely. I think it's the most, it's interesting because everybody always goes on and on about Dvorak. Yeah. But I actually have to say that I've felt since I was a young kid that the Elgar is the most perfectly constructed cello concerto we have in the repertoire. It has the perfect amount of like heartbreaking pathos where you just think, oh my God. And then where he then fills your heart with joy and love. And then there's like this railing against, the inhumanity of man. And then at the end, he brings it all back. So you just want to jump out of your seats and like start screaming, And I just think it's perfect. It's such an incredible piece. So interesting too, the moment that he wrote it, he was at near, in the later part of his life.
He was 64, yeah.
Yeah, and he had spent the entire World War I in his like resort, like his like vacation house on the Dover Cliffs. And hearing the artillery of World War I, of that trench warfare echoing across the channel, the English Channel, and thinking to himself how many hundreds of thousands of young men were dying for what, and then he ends up having to, at 64 years old, he suddenly has appendicitis and has an emergency appendectomy. And while he's in the anesthesia, the haunting first melody of the first movement comes to him. I mean, it's crazy, right? It's like this would be a movie, like if you didn't know it was true. Right. And so like he wakes up in the hospital room, thank God, because he gave us such a gift. And he asks for a pen and paper and writes down that incredible melody. I mean,
it's a great scene for the film, isn't it?
It is. I know. I really feel like somebody's got to make a film about this scene. That's
incredible. I like to kind of say right now, onset, that you have recorded this piece.
I have, yes. And I recorded it with the orchestra that actually did the world premiere of the Elgar Concerto with Elgar conducting.
Yeah.
The Royal Philharmonic.
Fantastic.
In London. And oh my gosh, I have to tell you. Oh, and then I recorded it where they usually record in London, which is St. Cripplegate Church. I mean, talk about history. So here I'm recording it with the Royal Philharmonic, who premiered the piece 100 years ago. And at this church where we're recording, Thomas Cromwell was buried. and Milton was married there.
What a history.
Feeling like I had people looking over my shoulder, of course, but it was so much fun. And I was really excited about this recording project because a really wonderful American composer, Bruce Wallasoff, who had written a number of pieces for my trio, the Eroica Trio, and then also for me as for cello and piano. He just all of a sudden got this inspiration and wrote this cello concerto for me. And the second he gave it to me, I thought, oh, this would be such a wonderful companion
I
with
agree.
the Elgar.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's very romantic
Yes.
and very atmospheric. And there is some Americana in there. You feel it sort of straddles the like Mahler-esque, romantic era, and then also 2020, America, and so I paired the Elgar with that, and then arranged for myself Piazzolla's
Yeah, that's
Born
delightful. Yeah.
and Liebe Tango for cello
So,
and orchestra.
will you bring the CDs so we could sell?
Definitely.
I neglected to say the date of the concert is October 22nd, Saturday evening at Garde Arts Center in New London, Connecticut.
Yes.
London part is very interesting too, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Considering Elgar also in a way. When it's premiered, I hear this didn't go too well because there was not enough rehearsal time or something.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. And it's really interesting because it just languished. No one was playing it. And until Jacqueline Dupre, the great British cellist, she recorded it at 17 with Sir John Barbaroli conducting, who had been in the orchestra when the
I didn't know that.
premiered. Yes, when the piece was premiered, he had been playing principal cello, which is like incredible. I know. I mean, this piece, it's like the universe just kept trying to give it chances to be able to come into the repertoire. So she recorded it, and then it sort of it exploded. But it's really interesting because when I was a kid, I would constantly ask to play the Elgar when conductor would ask me what I wanted to play, and they were always like, "Oh no, let's do Dvorak or Tchaikovsky Rococo or Schumann or whatever." And it's only been in recent years that finally people are realizing how amazing it is. It still seems like more off the beaten track, which is so interesting to me.
I didn't get to conduct this piece either until later in my conducting life either. I always thought it was kind of a monster piece in a way. I was kind of afraid to conduct in a way. Difficult in a way. I think, although I could conduct anything right now, but on those days, it was just something that it was big challenging to me. And I got a chance to do it. Unfortunately, it was with some young competition winner. And not quite matured, and it was kind of difficult. But as I conduct more and more, got so lovely. I did a violin concerto also too.
Yes, which is also really good, I think.
But I think
the cello's better. I think the cello concerto is
definitely better. Yeah, I'm so happy that we could perform this.
Me too.
We talked about it on the Facebook.
Yes, exactly.
That's how we can communicate it, because I knew you because from Eroica Trio, of course. And in essence, we've never talked before, but I just wanted to reflect about the trio also.
Yes.
Have you guys performed during the pandemic time or?
Yes, well, we had, actually, it was amazing. We played our last concert in Canada literally 2 days before America shut down. We flew back to the States and boom, America shut down. And so the trio, we went a full year and it was actually 14 months between concerts, which is, the longest we'd ever gone. But also the pianist, Erica Nikrans, she and I have been playing together since we were 12 years old.
I see.
And we did some online concerts. And then we started about exactly a year after the pandemic shut down the country. We started playing a few concerts here and there together, and we were talking about how it had been the longest we had gone without playing together since we were 12 years old. And it
Mm.
was the longest I had gone without a concert since I was 8. I mean,
Wow.
it was shocking how
Yeah.
painful that was, you
It's,
know?
it's just unbelievable time for our musicians' life and
I know. I mean, it's still,
concern.
it's like every concert that I've been playing since the pandemic, the audience is like, they're just on the edge of their seats. They're just eating it up. It's like, I swear to God, like I was playing some concerts in Korea just a few weeks ago, and I got a standing ovation after like every single piece. It was like so funny. But and so that's one of the wonderful things, is that the audiences and the performers, we're all like so grateful to be together and just to express this beauty and these emotions and to feel like we are not alone.
You were just abroad somewhere, Korea or somewhere like that, South Korea? Where were
Yes,
you?
I was in South Korea, and oh, it was fantastic. It has some really interesting concerts. I did, for the first time ever, Dun's Snow
Ah,
in June, the
yes, yes.
concerto for cello and for percussion. That was super. Oh my gosh, what an emotional piece. How exciting that was. It was really fun. We did that a number of times. And then I also played a recital with um, Piazzolla and Beethoven and Petrus Vasks, where I have to sing and play at the same time. That got a standing ovation. That was unbelievable. I think that people are just feeling so grateful to be in person, live, feeling that power of the emotionality of the music, you know? Because I think the thing about classical music, which I've always loved so much, is that it, you know, you're taking a piece of music written by a human being who has gone through this whole emotional journey, and he's writing into the music his pain, his loss, his joys, his loves. And then you have the performer interpreting that music through the experiences that they've gone through. And then the audience is participating in that, and they're experiencing it through their emotions and their experiences. And somehow at the end of that, there's an alchemy, a magic, where we all feel better. And we all feel seen and heard, and somehow we're not alone, you know? And
Mhm, mhm.
I think the pandemic made us feel so alone in so many ways. And so that's one of the reasons why the power of classical music is so profound right now, because it brings us together,
Beautifully
and
said.
it's
Yeah.
so beautiful, right? Yeah.
Great way to describe what's going on here right now. Can you describe about your cello,
Oh
to
yeah.
maker and all those?
My cello is 222 years old. It
Mm.
was built by Johannes Galliano in Italy. Johannes was the youngest son of a maker, as an instrument maker as well. Both his father and his uncle were instrument makers. His two older brothers were instrument makers. He kind of focused in on the cello, which is really wonderful. And actually, someone went to go work at Bain and Fushi's right after I'd won Tchaikovsky competition in Russia. And they knew that I was looking for an instrument, and they heard this cello, and they called me up, and they knew my playing from when I was a 16-year-old at Curtis Institute of Music. And they said, I found the cello for you. It's the perfect instrument. And I was like, what is it? What's the price? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I can't just fly to Chicago to try one cello, but I'm playing Schumann concerto with the St. Louis Symphony in, 3 weeks. If you still have it, you want to drive it down from Chicago, I'll try it. So they did. 5 minutes later, I was like, this is my instrument.
Quick,
And then,
quick decision.
And then you have to figure out what to do. How are you going to afford it? But what had happened was the summer before that, I had been performing at Marlborough with Rudolph Serkin and Josh Bell. And after the concert, a woman had walked up to me when I was speaking with Rudolph Serkin, and I was playing on a $500 orange cello at the time. And this woman come up to me and she said, Josh was on a Stradivarius, by the way. And so this woman comes up to me and she goes, oh, you have such a beautiful instrument. And I was like, oh, that's very nice of you to say, but actually it's not very good. And she was like, well, you don't deserve it if you don't appreciate it. And so Mr. Serkin said, madam, come here. And he brings her over to my cello case and does that famous like Heifetz joke. He says to her, listen, what do you hear? And she puts her ear down and she goes, nothing. And he says, exactly. Okay. And she walked away. And then Serkin said to me, you know, she's right, though. You really do need a better instrument. And I said, I know, but I just like, I'm putting myself through Juilliard and I'm like, I don't have the money for that kind of thing. And he said the most beautiful sentence anyone has ever said to me. He said, find the cello, I'll find the money.
Oh, wow.
I know. So I know. So I was looking, and I didn't even know what price range to look in. But then when I found this cello, I was like, this is my baby. This has to be mine. So I call up Mr. Serkin, and I was like, I thought I was going to like pass out because I was so nervous that he was going to say, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. And I was like, Mr. Serkin, it's Sara Sant'Ambrogio. And he goes, did you find a cello? I was like, yes. And he goes, how much do you need? And I was like, oh, I almost fainted. I couldn't believe it. And I could never have done it. So they loaned me the money at like, I think it was like 1% interest, just so that it wasn't a gift.
Right.
Yeah. And it was and they gave me as much time as I needed to pay it off. They said like they were going to give me 7 years. I ended up paying off sooner because I just like literally every penny I made, I wanted to give them back because I realized that this was really important for other musicians to have that opportunity. But I don't know how, you know, these instruments are insane now. Like, you know, my cello has gone up 12 times since I bought it. You know,
what a great story.
Yeah,
it's true story.
I have to say that was, I think that's the greatest gift anyone's ever given me. I mean, and what an incredibly generous man. It turns out that, so Serkin, he was married to Irina Bush, and her father had a great instrument. And so they sold that instrument and invested the money so that they could help young musicians buy better instruments to start their journey. And I mean, that's just incredible generosity and just amazing. So I was very, very blessed.
Well, his son, Peter, has performed with us before.
Oh, has he?
Yeah, we did Brahms and then
he played Brahms. I know.
You know. Yeah, but so he loved our orchestra. So I hope you like our orchestra as well.
Funny story. So Peter and I lived in the same building for a year.
Oh, really?
Yes. His apartment.
Wow.
His apartment was the first apartment I ever went to in New York City when I was like 15 years old. He was having a holiday party, and I was in New York playing with Sasha Schneider's Christmas Seminar Orchestra. And yeah, he was always so kind to me. What a lovely human being he was too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really sad that he's gone already.
I know.
Yeah. Anyway, so, well, I don't want to keep you too long, and looking forward October 22nd.
I can't wait. I'm so looking forward to it, Toshi. It's
looking forward to it. And the orchestra is really looking forward to, and our audience is looking forward as well. Everybody's talking about, oh, she's coming. So we'll have a great time, I'm sure.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to. See you soon.